Past. Past. Yep, this is it.
Wow. I'll lean in close.
Oh, it's still recording.
Oh, so they got the test.
They got the test. Team, welcome back to History Group. Updates from last week. Not many updates. Okay, you guys. There was a noticeable difference when I held the mic close as opposed to when I had it out here. So Daniel and I are now going to do a trade-off of the microphone. So let's do an example real quick. So now I'm talking, and then Daniel has something to contribute.
Hi, everybody.
If you don't understand how this works, okay, you're wrong. It's simple. Okay. Did you have any announcements before we start?
Welcome.
Yes. Daniel is back again by popular request.
Happy to be here.
Okay. Let's get into it. We're gonna talk about campaign ads this week. Last week we talked about propaganda, right? So now we have campaign ads using the knowledge that I gave you about propaganda. You can make the determination on whether or not you think campaign ads are propaganda. Daniel, could you explain the images real quick?
Yeah, so the one on the right is a man named Michael Bloomberg, and he is staring into the abyss. The one on the left is Joe, also known as Dark Brandon.
Dark.
And Joe says he's bringing back Roe.
If you're like me, you're terrified. I don't know who Roe is. I don't know where he went. I don't know why we got rid of him. But I'm scared. Are you scared?
I'm more terrified of the Michael Bloomberg one.
Bloomberg's terrifying. I'd rather. Actually, I'm not even gonna go there. Well, so here's how. Okay, I guess we could explain this a little more. Okay, here's how this is gonna work. We're gonna watch an ad in its entirety uninterrupted. Then we're gonna come back to the PowerPoint, and then Daniel and I are gonna dissect it for you. Okay, through an expert lens of history, political science. All right. So let's watch.
I for president, I for president, I for president, I for president. You like Ike, I like Ike. Everybody likes Ike for president. Hang out the banner, beat the drum. We'll take Ike to Washington. We don't want John
or Dean
or Harry. Let's do that big job right. Just get in step with the guy that's hep. Get in step with Ike. You like Ike, I like Ike. Everybody likes Ike for president. Hang out the banner, beat the drum. We'll take Ike to Washington. We got to get where we are going. Travel day and night for president. Let Adelaide go the other way. We'll all go with Ike. You like Ike, I like Ike. Everybody likes Ike for president. Hang out the banner, beat the drum. We'll take Ike to Washington. We'll take Ike to Washington.
Now is the time for all good Americans to come to the aid of their country. Vote for Eisenhower.
Okay.
Okay, so Ike ran for president in 1952 against the loser of the election. And this was his big thing, right? Personally, I hate it. Okay, I get that the song is on par with the time period. I wouldn't vote for anyone that played this song on my television every commercial break.
I'm there. I'm here for it. I mean, 1952. Think of how much money this cost to make.
How much?
I'm imagining a lot. I really like the part where it says, I like Ike.
So I think the problem is, and I think Eisenhower lost some voters for this. The campaign says, I like Ike. His name was Dwight, not Ike. So I bet plenty of people went to the polls, right? They didn't see Ike. They were like, he must have dropped out.
Can you tell us where that nickname comes from?
So Dwight, right, is his name. Dwight. People started calling him Ike. Okay. And then some people, that evolved because somebody misheard it and started calling him Ike.
Oh. I thought he was the co-founder of Mike and Ike's.
Was he?
Inconclusive.
The data is not out yet.
We'll get back to you next week.
Join us next week for Candy Crew.
The history of candy.
Oh, the history of candy.
Wow.
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 Do you like candy?
I like candy.
I like Ike.
Everybody likes candy.
But what message do you think this ad is trying to convey?
So actually, I think it's trying to convey just a sense of no matter who you are, you can like Ike. Okay. Hold on. I have an intelligent point here.
Yeah.
Because in the film, right, all the little bouncing people as they were watching, which if you know me, you know when you're marching, you're not supposed to bounce. Your head should remain constant, right? But they all had different professions, and they came from all walks of life. There was a firefighter, there was a like a baker, there were people in suits, right? So everybody, no matter your occupation, upper class, lower class, you can get behind Ike.
One of the things that I found really fascinating about this ad is, where are they marching towards?
The White House.
Are you sure?
Yeah, there was a sign in the video.
Okay, because I swear, maybe my memory is just as bad, but I thought the ending shot is of the Capitol building.
Okay, hold on. Because there was a sign that said White House. Because now I'm curious, so we're going to check it
I'm
out.
probably totally wrong. That's the Capitol.
That is the Capitol building.
That
Yeah.
is the Capitol. Okay. This man is running for president of the United States.
Yes.
Why is he portraying a march to the Capitol?
I think just because the Capitol's more of an iconic image of DC.
That's a fair point.
But no, I mean, you bring up a good point. I mean, he wasn't going to the Capitol. Wow. Yeah. But
Can we talk about the cartoon image of Ike in this video? Accurate or not?
let me make sure you guys are seeing. Let me get rid of this. Actually. Let me make sure you guys are seeing what we are seeing.
Wow.
Okay, I think you guys are seeing now what we're looking at.
Would you vote for a man who looked like this?
So I think that politics are more than skin deep. Right? I would vote for somebody no matter what they look like, as long as their ideas were good. And what Ike over here is telling me is, hang up the banner and beat the drum. Let's take Ike to Washington.
Very noble of you, but do you know that scene from the Jim Carrey movie, How the Grinch Stole Christmas?
I'm familiar with the documentary.
Yeah. And how the Grinch he's eating a onion and he turns around and he's like, that's what it looks like. I'm sorry. I don't want the Grinch as the president.
I totally would. He curbs people's enthusiasm just the right amount. Now he doesn't go overboard or nothing, right? He saw a problem in society. Society was too materialistic. He said, I want you guys to focus on your families, right? I want you to be grateful for what you have. So he,
What he said.
so that's what he said. So he took the presents away, and then they gave him a bunch of food and made him the mayor.
But okay, he thought that stealing the presents would end Christmas, but he realized that it wasn't about that. So I would actually argue that the Grinch is more materialistic than anybody because he thought Christmas was all about the presents.
You think a man that lives in a cave is more materialistic than the Who's of Whoville?
He collected trash.
To make ends meet.
And that's exactly why the Grinch would vote for Ike.
Grinch for president.
Okay, I think that's a satisfactory conclusion to this section.
All right. Well, hey, let's move on to this next one. Okay. Let me see what our image
Is
is.
this too humorous?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, because I don't have enough expertise on this to talk about it like a
I just
we're experts.
we're experts.
We know it all.
I am Obama. Guys, it's morning again in America.
It's morning again in America. Today, more men and women will go to work than ever before in our country's history. With interest rates at about half the record highs of 1980, nearly 2,000 families today will buy new homes, more than at any time in the past 4 years. This afternoon, 6,500 young men and women will be married. And with inflation at less than half of what it was just 4 years ago, they can look forward with confidence to the future. It's morning again in America. And under the leadership of President Reagan, our country is prouder and stronger and better. Why would we ever want to return to where we were less than 4 short years ago?
On the screen at this point. This group might go terribly wrong. Because I don't know what. Actually, why don't I just stop share? Boom. Now I know for sure.
Wow,
Actually.
that seemed like it accomplished nothing.
Okay. What does he mean by it's morning again in America?
The sun is rising. There's hope. And this ad is all about economics.
Explain.
Well, I think the point that Reagan is trying to make is that the last 4 years, the country has revitalized its economy and it's morning again in America. You can wake up and put on that pot of coffee and make the bacon. And
So Daniel has a much more optimistic look on this. I view this as just a man smiling, but what he's saying, oh, I got a cramp. But what he's saying is the dark times are over. You can smile now. You don't have to wake up begrudged, because this is 4 years into the campaign. By this point, realistically, we should be out of the morning. Okay, we should be well into the afternoon of the presidency. It's a metaphor. Hang with me here. Reagan had 4 years, right? And in that time, since he didn't start at morning, he started with the dark times.
this was from the 1984 election. Star Wars: The Return of the Jedi came out 1 year before this. The dark times were over. The
Yes.
Empire had fallen.
So what I'm saying is Carter, okay, was the evil, right? He was evil, according to the Reaganites, okay? And so here we are, 4 years later. Reagan has gotten us out of the dark times. He says, It's morning again in America. I've gotten rid of all the insane liberal policies that Carter had, and we can be America again. Look at, and then it goes back to the economics Daniel was talking about. Look at all the people buying homes. Look at all the people getting married. Look at all the people, you know, you had a boat in the ad. How many people own a boat now? Nobody. It's a 1%er kind of thing. Back in the day when it was morning, boats, boats, boats.
It's the Far Hampton Boat Show! November 5th, 6th, and 7th at the Far Hampton Civic Center. Come on down!
I bet Forrest Gump would do really well under this economy.
I mean, he did. It's in the film.
I haven't seen that one.
What?
No, I have. Sorry. Let's talk Reagan.
Let's talk Reagan.
Who is he?
Ronald.
Mr. Gorbachev.
Tear down this wall.
But in terms of its effectiveness, how would you rate this ad?
I think it's a really good political ad. It's uplifting. It doesn't necessarily put anybody down, like his opponent, but it makes very clear, if you choose my opponent, we could go back to, you know, I've been calling it the dark times for comedic effect, but we could go back to when there wasn't as much opportunity and not as many people were able to buy homes. Not as many people were starting families. So I think its effectiveness is very good. It has an uplifting message.
Yeah, one of the things that I like about this ad is that Reagan seems to know what the Capitol building is, unlike Ike.
I don't think that was in this ad.
Yes, there was a
There was
a picture. Let me explain. Let me take the mic. When the ad shows the United States Capitol, he says that the country has returned, right? It's morning again under the leadership of Reagan, right? And so he's implying that it's a legislative effort on behalf of all Americans, not just one led by the president.
Interesting take. I interpret it a little different. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm a historian to be, okay, not a political scientist like Missouri over here.
To be.
To be. He has a degree. He's a political scientist. You have a research job for a university, for an R1 university. And this man says to be.
I'm not liking Ike anymore.
Ike's low-key going down the tubes. Okay. But what this is saying to me is, hey, common people, you're better off. I don't think it's given a lick about politics and policy. It's just saying, look at where you are now. Look at the state of your neighborhood right now, of your family right now. What is happening in Washington is good. Keep it. Keep Reagan in office. Because if we were trying to bring legislative into this, the legislature was controlled by Democrats, was it not? Why would Reagan want to reelect them?
Well, he won. Both of Reagan's victories are two of the most lopsided electoral results in the history of the United States, but that's besides the point. What I was going to say is I don't think you can really disconnect the two, right? I mean, the life of every American is connected to the policies of Washington, D.C., and I think they make that abundantly clear. They talk about the record high interest rates in 1980. By the way, do you know what the interest rates were?
Sky high, I tell you that.
How high is the sky?
I mean, if we want to get specific, I think space starts at 62,000 feet.
So from my understanding, right, I think the interest rates right now are somewhere between 5 and 7%. I'm not, yeah. Inflation rates in the late 1970s and 1980 were anywhere between 16 and 20%. So, and those are interest rates, not inflation rates. Just be okay.
Okay, now that we've reelected Reagan, who's next? Rand Paul.
There's probably few candidates for 2016 that are more interesting than Rand Paul.
Rand Paul has been the most consistently principled person talking about issues.
The senator for Kentucky might just be the candidate who ends up winning this thing.
He's got the organization on the ground right now. He's in all 50 states. He's got young folks gravitating towards him. He's got African Americans taking a pause and looking at him.
To fix Washington, we can't have business as usual. Congress should read every bill. Congress should also live under the laws they pass. If they won't listen, we should limit all their terms and send the career politicians packing.
Senator Rand Paul filibustered yesterday for almost 13 hours on the Senate floor. Senator Paul showed stamina, a passion that many Americans can admire. Others joined him on the floor at various times to show their support.
I mean, he's out there talking. This isn't one of those, I'm not going to do anything. He's using the filibuster the way it's meant to be used.
Liberal policies have failed our inner cities.
I want to talk to you about your trip to Detroit this week, where you helped open the first of what are going to be several Republican outreach centers in inner cities. You also unveiled your plan for economic freedom zones in depressed areas.
I think at this point you'd have to call him a front runner, and I think it says something profound about the Republican Party.
We need to return to our founding principles. Stand up for the entire Bill of Rights. Our future can include a road back to prosperity, back to respect at home and abroad. It should include a balanced budget and a simple, fair tax system. It should include a government that protects your rights.
Hold on. Time out. What just happened? What? Did he run out of airtime? What? Okay. Few things I want to start with. One, the video cut out at a certain point. I don't know what that's about. Two, the music choice. He picked, in my opinion, a bunch of lame clips from him on the news, trying to legitimize his presidential campaign, and he put metal music behind it. I don't know if he understands what the core audience of Republican primary voters are, but they are not people who respond well to compilations of liberal news networks and heavy metal.
Liberal news networks. I mean, you had Sean Hannity, you had Chris Wallace, who was on Fox News at the time. I mean, I'm not saying I disagree with your point, right, but liberal news networks?
Well, so Hannity, yeah, he's right wing. Okay. I was talking about I think there was some MSNBC on there. Jon Stewart was on there. These are people that Republicans don't listen to. And then I think, as a general rule of politics, anytime you need to play a clip of Newt Gingrich to help you out, drop out. If that's what it's come to, you need to leave. I think, because now you guys definitely don't know who Newt Gingrich is. 8 years ago, I still think his name recognition was higher, but not nearly what it was at, the height of his speakership.
If you were to stand up for 13 hours and filibuster the Congress, what would you talk about?
I'd for sure bring up how, enough is enough. Keep Costco hot dogs $1.50. What would your speech be about for 13 hours?
Landscaping.
Wow. What about it?
You know, mowing the grass, and, you know, digging the leaves out of the gutter, and you know.
I guess if I had to give a 13-hour speech off the cuff, it'd be how America really needs to turn into a monarchy quick. I think it's the only way to save this country.
You know, one of the positive things I will say about this advertisement is I think all the clips, I think him talking is the most boring part.
Rand Paul, the man was born with negative charisma.
And he's wearing blue jeans. I don't know if you caught that, but he's wearing blue jeans. He's trying to be one of the regular people, right? He's not one of the regular people. He's one of the libertarians that, you know, he's an eye doctor.
He's a wealthy Southern man.
Yeah, he's not one of the people. And I hate when politicians try to act like one of the people. He's not one of the people. I mean, he's a person, I think.
He is a person, I think so, yeah. I saw his father speak one time at Texas Tech.
I like Ron Paul. You know, if they would have just removed Rand Paul and put Ron Paul, I'd vote for him. That's all he
I really like Ron.
That's all he has to do to change his that. Is just take himself out of it. What about the slogan, Stand with Rand? I like it.
I think, okay. Okay, we have different takes here. I think he and his social media team, his campaign team, probably had been thinking for weeks, what do we make our slogan? And finally, the deadline showed up. It was 8 a.m. His alarm went off, and he was like, screw it, Stand with Rand. At least it rhymes.
I'm a big fan of a rhyme scheme.
I'm more of I like alliteration.
Oh.
Yeah.
So like Rich Rand, Righteous Rand.
I don't know about that. Probably something like President Paul or
that's a bit
Running with Rand, the Madeline Manifesto.
I can get on board with
that. Yeah.
Overall, I think it's a pretty weak campaign ad.
It's a pretty awful ad, I think. It's literally a compilation of news clips and a boring speech set to metal music. Then he had to drop out. So it obviously more people thought the way we think. Who's next? Oh, Chillery. The Loch Ness Monster.
This one I want to rewatch.
We're gonna rewatch this big time.
Nixon now, Nixon now. More than ever, we need Nixon now, Nixon now, Nixon now. More than ever, we need Nixon now, Nixon now, Nixon now. More than ever, we need Nixon now, Nixon now, Nixon now. More than ever, we need our president, Nixon
I am not positive that Richard Nixon had ever stepped foot on a beach before this advertisement.
Yeah. I did want to bring up the beach. Because I think this, again, it's not a policy ad. This isn't even like the last one of Look at Me, I Can. This is just a feel-good ad. Here's a catchy song. Look at all the support he has. Hop on the support. It's a bandwagon thing, really, I think. I don't get the beach at all. As he's not even looking at the camera. He looks like he's DB Cooper walking away from a jet that he hijacked.
He's not even with his family.
Who's recording the video?
I'm gonna be honest. After watching this, and based on the week before last week's episode, I'm a big fan of Nixon. This ad sold me. I'm riding with Nixon.
I think I'm gonna vote for him in this election this year.
Write him in.
I'm gonna write him in. Well, he's got to have living descendants. I might vote for them. Yeah, I don't
break. Let me look it up. It looks like Julie Nixon Eisenhower
Hauer family
might still be alive. Inconclusive.
We have people on the way right now. We should get an answer soon.
What is this? What emotions does this ad evoke in you?
Just makes me happy.
Yeah.
It makes me want to just get up and
Nixon now.
Nixon now. And then, I mean, they brought out the cheerleaders. They had all the signs. I mean,
it really screams America.
It makes you feel good to be a Nixon supporter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the shot of him and Pat. They're standing inside the car and the confetti's. Yeah, it's a good shot.
Yeah. Reminds you of sports.
There's really no substance here.
Absolutely not.
And it's interesting that he includes, his campaign includes images of, diverse ethnic backgrounds supporting Nixon. Do you have any thoughts on this?
So, first couple times we watched it, I was like, okay, it's kind of weird, but maybe this ad is going to only be played in certain geographic areas where there's a higher proportion of like those nationalities, right? Now that I think about it, though, every country with a sign was on the eastern side of the Soviet bloc.
Yeah.
So I think this might be an attack ad on Nixon. From who was the challenger in 72?
Well, and Humphrey was 68, McGovern was
McGovern. This might be a McGovern ad saying Nixon's a communist.
Well, it was ineffective because I'm voting for Nixon.
I'm voting Nixon. I don't understand exactly what the immigrant thing was, but
now I have one. Maybe this will be my final contribution to this ad. If Nixon was going to the beach with his family, what do you think he'd pack for lunch?
Well, so let's think of things you would bring to the beach. Bathing suit. Nixon failed. He's wearing a full suit with shoes and socks. Okay. What does he pack for lunch? If we judge his outfit, probably Turkish delight, caviar. I mean, this man's going to have waiters serve him at the beach.
Now, I couldn't disagree more. I remember reading an excerpt about...
Why would I know? You've read about it.
I remember reading an excerpt about Nixon, and one of his favorite snacks was cottage cheese with ketchup on it.
You have told me this.
Yes, I think he would pack the cottage.
Do you think
he's cottaging it up on the beach?
Do you think after he recorded this story, like they got the shot of him walking away, and he turned around and he was like, "Somebody bring me the cottage cheese." Okay. Who's next? Oh, I hope it's Linda or whoever. Wow, Big Bird.
This one fit too.
I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
Bernie Madoff, Ken Lay, Dennis Kozlowski, criminals, gluttons of greed, and the evil genius who towered over them. One man has the guts to speak his name.
Big Bird, Big Bird, Big Bird.
It's me, Big Bird.
Big, yellow, a menace to our economy. Mitt Romney knows it's not Wall Street you have to worry about, it's Sesame Street.
I'm going to stop the subsidy to PBS.
Mitt Romney, taking on our enemies no matter where they nest.
Okay. So let's give some context here. In, I think it was the first presidential debate between Romney and Obama, Romney mentioned he wanted to like cut funding to PBS or something like that. And then he followed it up with one of the weirdest statements ever in a presidential debate. I like Big Bird, which has no, Big Bird should never be mentioned in a presidential debate. But they were able to make a mockery of Romney is what this was doing. So Daniel, what do you think? Was it an effective ad?
Okay. I have really mixed feelings about this ad. The political science student in me finds this hilarious. The common everyday American in me says, what is going on? For most Americans in 2012, right after the financial crisis, they don't have time to watch the presidential debates and know the intricacies of this. And so it's a big risk if you're the Obama camp, which obviously it worked because he won re-election, right? But trying to compare your political opponent to Big Bird from Sesame Street, it just seems like a bit of a reach.
I think you're misunderstanding the ad.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I think this is an ad that would maybe play for a week after the debate. It's not to say no big message about the financial crisis, because I think you're right in that. But this is basically, it threw out all the terms. It had the Wall Street and everything. So that gets an American's attention. Oh, Wall Street bad. Okay. How are we going to solve this crisis? And then it cuts to Romney talking about his funding proposition for PBS and Big Bird. So it's basically, it's not necessarily to give any policy other than, look at Romney, look at this buffoon. He has no clue how to fix this country. He's over here talking about Big Bird at the presidential debates. Meanwhile, look at, there's serious issues going on in this country. And I think that the fact that it's so funny, realistically, it's a situational thing. This isn't something they'd play the whole campaign. This is something they'd play from one presidential debate until the next one starts, just to try to get people to start leaning to Obama so that they can sell him in the debate.
I'm a thumbs down. I think it's a joke of an ad, and I think it's beneath the office of the presidency.
Beneath the office of the presidency, I'll give you that. Yeah. I like that.
And another thing, you bring up an interesting point, and I concede that it is interesting. And this idea that, well, common Americans are struggling to pay bills, and look at this buffoon, right, talking about PBS and Big Bird. Well, I don't get the sense from this ad that Americans are struggling, right? It doesn't give me that impression. It doesn't show me common Americans. It just, uses the words Wall Street, but then really targeted towards Mitt Romney. I don't know. I don't think it's that effective. It's funny, though.
I will say, just since you mentioned beneath the office of the presidency, I agree there. I can't remember for this ad specifically. If this was directly from the Obama campaign, thumbs down. If this was from a PAC that was supporting Obama, I would be more inclined to say thumbs up.
Okay. I concede.
Okay. I win again. Okay.
I want to watch this.
We're going to watch this one again.
Hey, Utah District 12, listen up right here. There's a new name on the ballot for the Senate this year. My name is Linda Paulson, Republican and awesome. Love God and family and the Constitution. I tried to get another conservative to run. Nobody could do it, so I'm getting it done. I'm pro-religious freedom, pro-life, pro-police, the right to bear arms and the right to free speech. I want less government control and regulation, want to stop and expose all political corruption. Where's integrity, morality, accountability? Government programs should lead to self-sufficiency and support traditional family as the fundamental unit of society. But in schools, they're pushing for new beliefs. And just to clarify, as a female adult, I know what a woman is. this country. It's a blessing to be free, but freedom comes with responsibility. The Constitution needs to be protected, not changed or disregarded, but resurrected. If you share my values, if you like what I stand for, then give me your vote on the 8th of November. District 12 needs a choice. Let me be your voice. Linda Paulson. Linda Paulson for Senate.
Daniel, take it away.
Wow. I'm speechless. This might single-handedly be the greatest campaign advertisement I have ever seen. Let me break it down. This is a ordinary citizen getting involved in local politics, and she is doing it.
This is not local politics. This is national. She's running for Senate.
State Senate.
Senate.
State Senate. State Senate.
I concede.
Wow. Maddie. Was it the U.S. Senate or State Senate?
State Senate.
Okay. This is an ordinary American running for her local politics, right? And she comes at it with her all. I don't even have to agree with her. She's got my vote.
Okay. Anyway, I'm not voting for her.
Oh.
I wouldn't.
Wow.
So let me tell you what comes to mind when I watch this ad. This woman's campaign financially is in trouble. Okay. This was recorded, by her grandkids on an iPhone. Somehow, that they spent this afternoon teaching their grandmother how to receive a text message in the form of a video. I think this rap was written probably by her 13-year-old grandson. She said, "Here's all my political beliefs. Go ahead." And then he wrote it out, right? And it was probably okay. And then she said, "Let me add a little bit." And then, I mean, it's terrible. This is awful. It's a terrible ad. I'll give her this. I think this is the first ad we've seen today where I can leave the ad knowing whether or not I should vote for her based on policy and politics. Everyone else, it just kind of gets the, hey, come on, please vote for me. Look at this, look at that. This one, I'm glad she actually told us, where she stands on issues.
I have two questions for you.
Okay.
One, did you have fun while you were watching this advertisement?
A ton of fun, yes.
Two, how much money do you think it costs to make this ad?
Considering, let's look at the big family she had in several of those pictures. This didn't cost her a cent. She had her family do it.
That is beautiful.
That's terrible.
The fact that everyday Americans can get involved and do something fun like this. And I don't know if she won. And quite frankly, it does not matter. This is amazing. I have yet to hear a point that does not make this a great. This is the greatest campaign ad ever. It's not even close. It's not even.
Give me the mic. If she is cutting costs to make a subpar video that sucks and makes a joke of politics, I am terrified, as to what she is going to do when she's in office. She's going to say, "Oh, we don't need, X amount of money for this because we can take 90% of that budget, save the money, and do, a terrible job that still gets the job done." That's not what I want from my government. I want my government to provide the services that they are capable of providing. And I want them to do it in the best way that they can, not in the cheapest way that they can. Because what happens to cheap things? They break. And then you have to constantly fix them. That's the problem with this country, is we're in a repeated cycle of fix it, it breaks. Fix it cheaply, it breaks. Fix it cheaply, it breaks. If we were to invest long-term in things now with good money and good planning, this country would be much better off. We also need a king or a queen.
Now, I think you're starting to see our political divide creep in here, right? Because I think the problem is actually too much government intervention. But I digress. I sense a contradiction here.
Oh.
When you were first talking about this, you spoke at this ad.
Yeah.
Right. It was the most effective ad at telling you what her policies were compared to others, right?
Yes.
Yet, in that same breath, you just said that this was an absolute abomination. So let me ask you, right? Having spent zero money, she was able to not only let you have fun while watching a campaign ad, because most of them are unbearable, she also told you what she believed in. This is not her governing. This is her trying to get to the seat. And she is laying out for voters what she believes in. That is exactly what a campaign is for. This is not her running state programs. This is her trying to get to the Capitol, right? And if she is able, with zero money, to effectively convey to you her message, something that most politicians can't do with $1 million, as is evidenced by the ads we just saw, I just don't understand how you are implying that she would be an ineffective legislator.
Let me clarify. I haven't looked into her opponents. I would venture to guess that her opponent's ads were much more sophisticated than this. And let's say that her opponent, with more effort into this, was also able to get his or her political positions clearly broadcast. I think that would speak volumes, because this woman put this together in the matter of an hour and a half, probably. I don't want a politician that's going to take the easiest route to things, the cheapest route to things, just to say, oh, this will be good for now. I want a politician that takes pride in the work that they do. What is so funny?
I don't care. I don't want a politician who's going to spend even thousands of dollars on an ad. I don't care. Give it to me plain and cheap like this so I can understand your message. Print it in the newspaper, right? Go on your local television.
Reads the newspaper.
Go on your local television and give a 1-hour interview about.
Get to the local television.
All right, I think we should. Let's fight. This single-handedly might end this friendship.
Let me just conclude. I'll give Daniel the last word because he's our guest. Okay, even though he's going to be wrong, but
like I was about the state senate.
This woman sucks. I had something to say. Oh, yeah, you said you like this better than somebody who's spending thousands of dollars on one ad. If you have the money, use it. There is absolutely no point to just letting money accumulate, because you know what that creates? That creates a disparity of wealth, and we don't want that.
And if you pour it into the system, that creates inflation.
That's not true.
It's literally the primary cause of inflation.
You invest in infrastructure and services. I'm not saying
you got me.
I'm not saying hand out checks to everybody. I'm saying invest the money in services that are beneficial to the society. Keep your society happy, healthy, educated, and secure. That is what government is here for.
Wrong.
Whoa. Daniel, what's government for?
To protect individual liberty and rights.
Okay, John Locke.
Okay, you said you'd give me the final word. Are you done? Are you done?
I'm done.
No, in all seriousness, is a good natured. I have a great amount of respect for my opponent. But are you gonna?
I'm gonna give it back to you. This is my last thing.
Oh, I'm getting my concluding remarks interrupted. I'll be back.
I just want to say, I think that this is healthy political discourse.
We gotta show this to Van B.
Van B is a international relations professor domestically.
So my concluding remarks are this. What's her name?
Linda Paulson.
Linda Paulson. Will you be my adoptive grandmother?
Oh.
She's an inspiration. If every citizen who wanted, I mean, she even mentioned she tried to get a conservative to run and no one would do it. So she stepped up to the plate. That is cool. And, you know, I don't know about this mumbo jumbo coming, am I right, about more money in politics. We need less money in politics. If a candidate has $1 million, would you prefer them to put it towards a charity program or to put it in a worthless political ad?
Whoa,
Donate it. Yes, that's exactly what you're saying.
It's build a hospital or a school.
Charity.
That's not charity. That's government function.
My concluding remarks are this. Woman who looks like KIV, governor of the great state. Is it Alabama? Keep going. Next.
Okay.
That was
that
was
was good.
good banter.
I think this is going to be our last one.